The first week of Rite of the Nine has begun, bringing us the refreshed Spire of the Watcher dungeon and its rewards. Here's how the event works, how to get the best loot, and the changes that have been made to each dungeon encounter. First, before jumping into the dungeon, you'll want to visit the Rite of the Nine social space. The emissary has 2 quests, one that rewards a fixed roll of the long-arm scout rifle with the shiny Galaxy Holofoil skin, and one for a random roll, multi-perk, fully masterworked Wilderflight grenade launcher, also with Holofoil. You'll need to complete all 9 Elegant Arsenal quests over 9 weeks to complete the Foiled Again triumph for the Calibrated emblem, and you also need this triumph for the title, so make sure to pick these up now. Completing the title will also reward the Astrograph shader. Any weapon drop from Rite of the Nine has the chance to be shiny, but they don't have any benefit other than the galaxy pattern. This isn't like Into the Light, where all shinies from the Brave Arsenal had multiple perks. Instead, multiple perks either come from quest rewards or gold tier rewards in the activity itself. Look out for diagonal lines in the bottom right of the weapon thumbnail, which means it has the holofoil. Another addition to all the refreshed weapons in Rite of the Nine is a new origin trait, in addition to their original one, called Gravity Well, which collects nearby ammo on reload. Bounties from the emissary and encounter clears reward the nonary manifold material, and curios of the 9 collected from this episode's seasonal challenges can be converted into more of these. I handed in 11 curios and got 320 nonary manifold. They can be spent on either raid banners, or for 250 you can open the chest on the right hand side to receive a random weapon from the pool of Rite of the Nine weapons you've already received. And the cool thing is, these can be adepts, but single perks only. Behind the emissary you can attune to each weapon, but attuning to one you haven't received a copy of yet won't do anything. Attunement isn't guaranteed though. I attuned to the sidearm and got 3 machine guns and a scout on my next 4 chest openings, even though the sidearm was in my loot pool. And the final thing to note here is that returning players can also open the chest on the left hand side for a full set of 2020 max power gear if they need it. As for the dungeon itself, there are 3 difficulty options. Explore, either private or matchmade, which is a very easy introduction to the dungeon with on-screen tooltips, no darkness zone, and short res timer, so you can respawn infinitely until you complete an encounter. You only get basic loot here though, with no chance of double perks. And this mode does not include the changes to mechanics found in the other difficulties, so is basically the original launch version of the dungeon, but without the exotic in the loot pool. Eternity difficulty features the modifiers Brawn, Banes, and Shocker, and along with new updated mechanics, also has a tier system for loot based on how many deaths have occurred during a single encounter attempt. But players do not have revive tokens, and you can res as many times as needed. 0 or 1 death gives gold for guaranteed double perks in both columns, 2 deaths gives silver for double perks in third column only, and 3 deaths or more rewards only single perks. Completing the dungeon on Eternity difficulty with all gold tier encounters completes the Who Watches triumph for the Seer emblem, and this triumph is also required for the title. Finally, Ultimatum is the hardest difficulty, capping players at a lower power, plus the modifiers Scorched Earth, Banes, Galvanized, and Shocker. It features the same updated mechanics as Eternity difficulty and the tier system for multiple perks, but this time each player only has 1 revive token, and the 3 main encounters have an enrage mechanic. To help compensate for this extra level of difficulty though, Ultimatum rewards adept weapons from encounter clears. And getting gold scores on all 3 main encounters in Ultimatum mode completes the Peak of the Spire triumph, which is also needed for the title. So, what are the updated mechanics on Eternity and Ultimatum mode? The first encounter doesn't have a tier system attached, so no double perks or an enrage, but it has been refreshed slightly and does reward loot. The Cyclopses on the cliffside now respawn on their own very quickly instead of waiting for a node chain to be fully finished, so there's no point trying to clear them and you just need to keep moving and don't linger in their line of sight. Once all 4 chains are complete, now a boss level Hydra spawns in which needs to be defeated to complete the encounter. The first Traversal section now has platforms that rise to help stragglers, and the secret chest is still in the same place, although only gives normal weapons on Ultimatum, not adepts. There is a new collectible though in the form of an engram which is needed for the title, so pick that up on top of this terminal just before you drop down to the anti-grav elevator that takes you to the next area. The second encounter now features those flying Vex Detain bubble enemies, so be quick to take them out or you'll need to break the bubble they trap you in. And after completing node chains, anti-gravita protectors spawn in which need to be defeated before you can access the elevator to the next floor. And on the final floor, this takes the form of a giant boss Minotaur. Plus, on Ultimatum mode, there's an enrage timer. The Harpy boss now spawns a pillar of shapes over the start of the node chains, and matching symbols on each starting node. You need to complete chains in the order of the pillar, top to bottom, to start damage phase. If you mess up the order, it will start a 30-second timer, during which you have to finish the other chains or you wipe. So it is recoverable, just unlikely if you mess up on the first or second chain and haven't made progress on the others yet. The Ultimatum Enrage limits you to 3 damage phases, but we found it was a comfortable 2-phase with 3 Queen Breakers, Particle Reconstruction, Well of Radiance, and 2 damage supers. The second Traversal section has a small change in that the 5 individual nodes on each level only open one at a time. The other original secret chest is still there, but there's another new collectible on the very last level before you drop down to the final boss. Look in the corner in between these boxes for an engram to collect. And finally, the Wyvern boss also requires you to complete nodes in a specific order. The 5 inside nodes that need to be shot to begin each phase only open one at a time, and once shot reveal which order the next 2 chains need to be completed in, top to bottom. At the same time, flying Vex Detain bubble enemies also spawn in front of each side door and around the back of the reactor room. Supplicants aren't a new thing, but they are still very dangerous, so I'd recommend using a fusion rifle to disintegrate them to prevent explosions. The Ultimatum Enrage limits you to 3 damage phases again, which we did comfortably with 2 Queen Breakers plus Divinity, with Particle Reconstruction, Well of Radiance, and 2 damage supers. I'm sure a 2-phase is also possible though, with a more optimal setup and a well-coordinated team. And finally, something weird about the quest reward for the double perk Shiny Wilderflight. Both me and Cactus from my fire team had it go to Postmaster, and it was 0 power when we retrieved it. I'm not entirely sure if the Postmaster caused it, or if that's just a coincidence, but worth bearing it in mind just in case. In fact, Cactus was actually very happy that it dropped at 0 power for him, because now he had a full set of 0 power gear in each slot. Why you'd ever want this, I don't know, but who am I to judge? And that's it. Feel free to leave any questions in the comments, and please like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.